I was briefed by my first deputy mayor, my chief of staff, my chief counsel, the police commissioner, as well as other members of my team. I called the president and spoke with him directly to register my opposition.
What?
Oh, yeah, no, I think millions of people, and I think she realizes that. I think Rachel Maddow realizes that millions of her viewers and the millions of people do not agree with her stance on any of this. And that's why she's panicking live on air. I got to show you this clip of her basically defending Maduro. Meanwhile, millions are marching the streets celebrating that a dictator is out of office. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what this is. Is she the queen of white liberal women? Is this it? Is this the usual suspects here that are constantly like, there's nobody more Trump deranged than liberal white women. I'm going to be very honest with you. I just don't know. Maybe surprise me. But here she is breaking down, spiraling, because she knows that nobody is buying her BS. There's also many clips of her saying that Trump will at some point team up with Maduro because Trump is a dictator. I mean, let's just take a listen to what she has to offer here.
In your heart of hearts, when you think about what the United States just did, I think there are very few Americans right now who have any idea why the United States did this. If this was about drug trafficking, then why did President Trump just pardon the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of sending hundreds of tons of drugs into the United States? If this was about something about the illegitimacy of Maduro's election, well, that's something that the U.S. is, decrying any other country policing. We just sanctioned Brazil for having tried to protect itself from a coup by its former president, Jair Bolsonaro. I mean, if it's about...
Guys, do you know, this is what's crazy. She's not even holding accountable the Democrats. Do you know that Maduro got indicted in 2020? So Maduro was up for this no matter what. And during Biden's whole administration, they decided to do nothing about his indictment. And he was actually illegitimate during his administration along with Kamala, and they did nothing about it. And now Trump is doing something about his indictment where he has to go and show up, and he did it without any casualties and going in and out. So why aren't you talking about that? Why aren't you talking about the dictatorship of Maduro? But yet, let's continue.
Gangs. We had the president of El Salvador, who is believed by U.S. law enforcement to be very linked with the notorious gang MS-13, which has caused incredible damage in the hemisphere, including in the United States. He's invited into the Oval Office, and the president says that he's looking forward to sending homegrown Americans to that president's essentially, jungle concentration camps. So all of the purported explanations for what's happened here don't stand up to logical scrutiny. The president has never articulated a coherent rationale for having done this. This seems like Marco Rubio's dream, not Donald Trump's dream.
This seems like Marco Rubio's dream. She, though, again, crashing out. Their entire audience has been in the comments. If you go and read them on MS Now, they're trying to rebrand themselves from MS Now to MS Now from MSNBC. She also says that Bukele is a bad president. Bukele is linked to MS-13. He literally locked all of them up, and they went from being the murder capital of the planet to now being one of the safest, if not the safest country in the Western Hemisphere.
What about the human right of a woman not to be raped? I mean, what about the human right of kids to play or to be free or to go to the park? And what about the human right to live, or the human right to walk in the street, right? But no, they were worried about the human rights of the killers
by locking all of them up. So she is melting down and crying. But ladies and gentlemen, when you go and you actually look at Venezuela, boy, does this tell a whole different story. Here's a young man in Venezuela speaking to the news about how big of a story this actually is. Take a listen.
I hope you have your coffee when I tell you this, but these are great news. All eyes on Venezuela. These are historical news. This is history in the making. I mean, my chest, it feels like it's going to explode with joy. Everything that I can ask for. And, I just want to tell you people, America, Venezuelans are good people. The greatest people that I know, I can vouch for them. We are good. We are working hard. And this is our, like, President Donald Trump and Maria Corina Machado just created an opportunity for us to begin working harder than ever.
Again, you hear his joy. You hear him thanking Trump. You hear all these millions of people coming outside, marching in the streets. I mean, I showed you in my previous video. You guys saw you saw the reaction. So Rachel Maddow goes on air, but she's been pushing this same stuff. You saw the reaction from an actual Venezuelan, right? And, then you have this, where in September of 2024, Rachel Maddow says Putin, Maduro, Trump, Kim Jong-un, and Xi Jinping are all the same. So what happened to this energy you had, right? She was basically saying that Trump was just like Maduro. So she made a list of all the dictators that are very bad for the world and are threats to America. But for some reason, she's now changed her mind. She was comparing Maduro to Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un. Just take a listen to this.
Gives money to Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. And Xi Jinping sends a love note to Kim Jong-un today on his country's birthday. But they are all led by rulers who are all interested in staying in power for life and making sure that the people of those countries never rise up against the strongman form of leadership that keeps them under the boot.
Where is this energy? Where is this energy today? Rachel, we need you back. You looked much better back in 2024, by the way. What happened to you in 2023? I mean, this is crazy. What happened? She looked like a little, you know what I mean? Like a little joint. Like, maybe not. I mean, that's not my type, by the way. Don't like these short haircuts. But this is like a year and a half ago. What is this? Like, what happened? Man. The Trump derangement jokes are played out, but boy, is this what it looks like? Anyways.
To this act and to make clear that it was an opposition based on being opposed to a pursuit of regime change, to the violation of federal and international law.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States. And the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy. But instead, he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody. But don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that, I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Is that the message? I registered my opposition. I made it clear, and we left it at that.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Zoran claims that he called the president to express his opposition to regime change, right? AKA to express his opposition to a socialist authoritarian dictator being overthrown by the U.S. government, right? And Venezuelans celebrating the fact that their socialist dictator was overthrown. okay? These people are standing against democracy. I want you guys to understand, the thing that they claim they care about so much, they're literally standing against it, okay? I mean, this guy was not legitimately elected, and they're saying, no, we need to keep that guy in power, right? That it was wrong to remove somebody who literally stole an election from his people, right? Because he's a socialist. He ideologically aligns with them, so now they're going out of their way to defend an authoritarian, to defend a dictator, something that they claim they're against here in the United States of America. These people are frauds, okay?
What are your thoughts on this protest?
Well, these guys are paid. They're so organized. I mean, it's less than even 24 hours. They got hundreds of signs made. It's almost like they have a print shop in the back of their People's Forum over here down in the city. That being said, that if you looked at all the videos out on the internet, the people in Venezuela are happy that this is happening because now they don't have to deal with socialism and communism. But the people who are actual socialists and communists are here in America protesting against what's good for the better people in Venezuela, and that's the sad part.
Thank
you know, and this is they want to turn this country into what that country is. You know, they don't want this country to be good. These people want to live in socialism and communism.
How is it related to Palestine? They're talking about Palestine.
How is it related to Palestine? I don't know. I mean,
I'm trying to figure it out.
There is no relationship with it. These people are just pretty much, like I said, they're bored liberals that have nothing better to do. They're funded, better than probably, I think, one of the best funded people in the world. Probably $18 million a year, from what I understand, they get funded.
I confronted Manolo dos Santos, leader of the People's Forum. I said, you guys got paid $20 million a year by Rolly Nelsingham to paid protests, and he had no response. He didn't.
Yeah, well, he actually never says a word. He'll never, because he knows once he opens up his mouth, he incriminates himself. So that's why
he's getting arrested at every other protest.
Yeah, but he's getting arrested,
which we pay for.
Which we pay for, and he was also He was also a couple of times I've seen him with paid security, armed paid security, walking down the block with them in a protest, which is also illegal to do. What does this have to do with Palestine? Absolutely nothing. But it's the same people who protested BLM, who are protesting Gaza, protesting Venezuela, protesting anti-Trump, no kings.
Yeah.
You should check out that communist flag over there.
What brings you out here today?
I'm organized with the Revolutionary Communists of America. We're out here to say hands off Venezuela, and we unequivocally stand with the people of Venezuela against U.S. imperialist aggression.
What do you think about the people of Venezuela celebrating on the streets?
What?
What do you think about the people of Venezuela celebrating on the streets today?
Gracias, Dios. Gracias, Señor. Mi gente. Dios mío, no sé ni cómo explicarle ni qué decirle, pero el régimen de Maduro se fue. Tío Donald Trump, gracias tío, viva Venezuela, coño, viva Venezuela, hermanos.
Esta señora que no ha parado de llorar desde que llegó, viene en pijama, como lo pueden ver, todavía ella está. Cuénteme un poco su reacción, cuénteme un poco qué siente en este momento.
Esto no tiene comparación. Gracias, Dios mío, gracias Dios. Yo a las 2 de la mañana parado, de la nada veo un video, después veo otro video y yo dije, está pasando en realidad. Es muy surreal, pero lo que hay es que disfrutarlo.
Acaban de capturar a Nicolás Maduro y a su esposa. Donald Trump lo confirmó hace 10 minutos, más de 10 minutos, que lo sacó de Venezuela. Por fin ustedes los venezolanos van a tener una Venezuela libre como todo el mundo la quería. Coño, al final del túnel siempre está la luz. Ahí está, acaban de capturar.
Familia, hoy no dormimos los venezolanos en todo el mundo. El día llegó, Donald Trump confirmó la captura del maldito nacido hijo de Nicolás Maduro, carajo. Cayó el maldito régimen.
Dios mío.
Boy. So I just woke up to some bombshell news that makes me proud to be an American, because we have officially overthrown Nicolas Maduro, the socialist dictator of Venezuela. Okay, we went in there and we got him, right? We bombed the capital and then went in and got Nicolas Maduro and did not lose any American lives, right? We body bagged them, okay?
I saw images of Venezuelans being bombed after the U.S., bombed Caracas. So I'm not sure what you're talking about, but yeah, I think you should definitely
show me the bombings that you're talking about. I didn't see any.
I don't know. I just saw it on Reddit. It was on the front page of the internet.
Reddit.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
But what do you think about the people celebrating? The hundreds of thousands of people that are in the streets celebrating.
I have yet to see it. Can you show me that?
Yeah.
Let's actually go to a real Venezuelan. There's millions of these people, by the way, that sound like him. Take a listen.
This is a message for my American friends watching the news today in English. There is a serious inaccuracy in the coverage. Venezuela is not undergoing a regime change. Venezuela already has a democratically elected president, Edmundo González. He is the president. Nicolás Maduro is not the president. He never was. He stole the last election and led a criminal organization linked to terrorism and drug trafficking, El Cartel de los Soles. And today, thanks to the vision and courage of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the decisive leadership of the President Donald Trump, and the actions of Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, the United States has finally recognized a fundamental truth. Protecting our hemisphere from terrorism, drug cartels, and authoritarian ideologies is a matter of national security for the United States.
Well, we live in two different realities. I gotta say, I guess we just live in crazy different realities. We just do, right? I guess we just have to accept that at some point, some people are going to live. Again, I listen to a lot of leftists on a daily. I watch as much fake news as I can, as much as I watch right-wing news. I listen to everybody. That's how I'm able to come on here and really tell you that I believe these things, because I'm able to listen to everybody. I'm able to read as much as I could on New York Times or not New York Times, or New York Post, but New York Post can be biased sometimes, or Washington Times, whatever. These mainstream leftist, writers or whatever. I try to listen to as much as I could to try to understand their perspective. I just can't. When you go and you do the test of actually going to El Salvador to speak to the people of El Salvador, they love Bukele. They say, oh my God, we love Bukele. In fact, Puerto Ricans or Dominicans or Venezuela, we need a Bukele. In Mexico, we need it. So there is such a huge disconnect in the Western Hemisphere right now between left-wing ideology, progressive ideology, right-wing ideology, radical right-wing ideology, radical left-wing ideology. But I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we're here because I think we can say that we're at least trying to be common sense ideology here on this channel.
Yeah,
sure. U.S. imperialism.
People celebrating on the streets here. What do you think about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, I stand with the people of Venezuela against U.S. imperialism. The U.S. has no right to bomb the people of Venezuela. The U.S. has no right to kidnap another
Why are
leader
they
of
all
another.
Celebrating? Why are they celebrating?
I don't know. Do you have a correspondent there who can ask?
Muchos años esperando esta pronta libertad, que todavía, bueno, pero por lo menos estamos saliendo de una de las peores ratas de Venezuela.
Gracias al gobierno de Trump por esta libertad que nos está brindando. De alguna manera se convierte junto a Edmundo González y a María Corina Machado en los libertadores de Venezuela.
Esto es algo que no sé cómo explicarlo, o sea, es una emoción.
I'm here demonstrating against. I'm here demonstrating against U.S. imperialism and the U.S. intervention.
Is this AI though? These images of everybody
I don't know.
celebrating?
You're the one showing me the video, so let me know. You're showing me the source.
I don't know. I don't think it's AI because it's
Okay.
being published by multiple news organizations. So just what are your thoughts on it?
I'm here protesting U.S. intervention,
I understand that. I
U.S.
get that.
imperialism, and U.S. capitalism.
Excuse me? Sorry?
Hello. Good night. Happy New Year.
Scrum in what looks like maybe a gray or blue sweatshirt. We saw him a little bit earlier on the image that the president posted, blindfolded and handcuffed, and it appears maybe he's still blindfolded in a gray sweatshirt, which would likely come off as blue, given the daylight scenario, the lack of daylight over there. Again, Ambassador Bolton, who is behind the push? Who really wanted him out? And then number two, was there ever a plan for day two?
Well, I think the problem in the first term, a lot of the president's senior advisors wanted to work with the opposition to overthrow Maduro, who had stolen the 2018 election in Venezuela, just like he recently stole the 2024 election. Our problem was that trying to keep Trump's attention to it, and there was.
I was briefed by my first deputy mayor, my chief of staff, my chief counsel, the police commissioner, as well as other members of my team. I called the president and spoke with him directly to register my opposition to this act and to make clear that it was an opposition based on being opposed to a pursuit of regime change.
This is a message for my American friends watching the news today in English. There is a serious inaccuracy in the coverage. Venezuela is not undergoing a regime change. Venezuela already has a democratically elected president, Edmundo González. He is the president. Nicolás Maduro is not the president. He never was. He stole the last election and led a criminal organization linked to terrorism and drug trafficking, El Cartel de los Soles. And today, thanks to the vision and courage of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, the decisive leadership of the President Donald Trump, and the actions of Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, the United States has finally recognized a fundamental truth. Protecting our hemisphere from terrorism, drug cartels, and authoritarian ideologies is a matter of national security for the United States.
Meanwhile, Mamdani appoints former convicted rapper to public safety transition team. Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani selects rapper Mysan, previously incarcerated, for his City Hall transition team. Mysan's appointment sparks debate due to his past conviction for armed robbery and his activist reputation. Mamdani's progressive platform includes giving formerly incarcerated individuals opportunities in public service roles. The move reflects ongoing discussions about rehabilitation, second chances, and public safety leadership in New York City. Stay tuned for more updates on New York City's changing political landscape.
To the violation of federal and international law.
What happened here? What powers did the president use today, sir?
Well, there was an indictment out of the Southern District of New York, a four counts indictment that Attorney General Pam Bondi just released. It was unsealed. It's a 4-count indictment for narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices against the United States. And so there was this indictment that was unsealed. There was an arrest warrant, and the president executed this arrest warrant, went and got the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, and he brought him back to, he's bringing them back to court in New York City. They're going to stay in a Brooklyn jail. The president absolutely has that constitutional and statutory power to do that. Separate from that, remember what Maduro did. Maduro unleashed Tren de Aragua terrorists on the United States who kidnapped, raped, tortured, and murdered Americans, including Laken Riley. We have people, we have hundreds of thousands of Americans who have died from fentanyl poisoning because of Maduro and his wife. And so the president absolutely has the Article 2 and statutory power to do what he did. There's no question about it. And I would say to the Democrat politicians who are crying about this today, President Trump made it much easier for these Democrat politicians to go have margaritas with Maduro in this Brooklyn jail. They don't have to travel down to Venezuela. They don't have to travel down to Caracas to do it now.
I registered my opposition. I made it clear and we left it at that.
The fact that nobody seems to know what Mamdani actually said, and so he gets away with saying stuff like this.
I have never, not once, spoken in support of global jihad.
He has actually plainly confessed his support for global jihad in the 2008 landmark case, US versus the Holy Land 5. 5 people were convicted of providing material support to Hamas by way of millions and millions and millions of dollars in violation of federal law while disguising it behind charity. Those 5 people were sentenced to 65 years in a federal correctional facility. They were called the Holy Land 5. In 2017, under the pseudonym Mr. Cardamom, Mamdani himself drops a rap song in which he states, "My love to the Holy Land 5. Okay? My love to the people who funneled millions to Hamas. You better look them up." Now, I know you're thinking maybe his views have changed. It's been several years. His views have not changed. When he was recently asked, do you think that Hamas should lay down its weapons? That's it. His answer was that he had no opinion. When you have openly supported the funneling of millions of dollars to Hamas, and since then they have committed a massacre that killed 1,200 Israelis and have shot and killed Palestinians at point-blank range, and you now have no opinion on whether they should disarm, that's another way of saying, I support the terrorists. And that couldn't be clearer. And you know what worries me as an Iranian? The fact that this is the exact path that led to the revolution in Iran. It was this exact marriage of socialism and Islamism that we are now seeing people fall for again here. That also started by dividing society into oppressed and oppressor. Mustakbirin and mustasafin. And the oppressor was, guess who? The elite, the wealthy, the ruling class that had to be eliminated for justice and utopia to prevail. Guess what were all of the promises made by Khomeini? Free transportation, free electricity, free water. Nobody should go unhoused. The same utopian false promises that have led to death, destruction, devastation, gulags, labor camps, everywhere that it's touched. How do we know that this is identical to every other iteration in human history? Because what ends in totalitarianism starts at its core. And what is at the core of totalitarianism? It's absolutism. What is absolutism? It is a binary. What is a binary? Oppressed and oppressor. What does that lead to? It leads to dehumanizing everybody on the wrong side of the binary. What does that lead to? Calling for the elimination of the oppressor. What have we been celebrating for the past few years in the United States? The elimination of the oppressor. That is how we are walking the path to totalitarianism, and we literally cannot see it. Do you know why we can't see it? Because do you think totalitarianism introduces itself as such? Of course it doesn't. When it knocks on your door, it calls itself liberation.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Zoran claims that he called the president to express his opposition to regime change, right? AKA to express his opposition to a socialist authoritarian dictator being overthrown by the U.S. government, right? And Venezuelans celebrating the fact that their socialist dictator was overthrown, okay? These people are standing against democracy. I want you guys to understand, the thing that they claim they care about so much, they're literally standing against it, okay? I mean, this guy was not legitimately elected, and they're saying, no, we need to keep that guy in power, right? That it was wrong to remove somebody who literally stole an election from his people.
I'm here in New York, about to illegally vote for Zoran Mamdani 6 times. Yeah. 6.
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly and securely. Don't wait, decide how it ends.
Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" exclamation point, catch exclamation point.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're at a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
We're going to fight it in the streets. It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
That's the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.